Hi there, Richard the Dick Coughlin, 616, and I'm still here in America. I'm currently in New Jersey, and not far from here, many years ago, as we all know, two airliners hit the World Trade Center, which resulted in then collapsing, and later that day, the collapsing of World Trade Center 7, in an act that was carried out by Islamic terrorists. In recent weeks, months, perhaps most of this year, the entire conversation has been consumed with the discussion of what was known as the Ground Zero Mosque. In recent months as well, what people have not been talking about is the construction and plans for another religious centre near Ground Zero, which I would like to talk to you about today. And then at the end, I would like to ask you a question. The religious centre I'm referring to is actually being built deliberately as a response to the Ground Zero Mosque, set up by a guy called Bill Keller. This is currently the position where he is holding his evangelical meeting, less than 2 blocks from Ground Zero. The plans are in future to build a full evangelical Christian centre near Ground Zero. One of the complaints about the mosque when it was being built, that isn't really a mosque, was that it was being called Cordoba House. This was felt that it was in reference to some sort of Islamic conquest. The original claim was, in fact, that it was being built because it represented a time when all three faiths were living together as one. However, because of the outcry, people who planned Cordoba House decided in turn to change the name to Park 51. Now, if we're going to talk about offensive names, I'd like to share with you the name of this Christian centre that is being proposed. It's literally called the 9/11 Christian Centre. The fact is that in this mosque there is going to be a separate Jewish prayer space and a Christian prayer space and a Muslim prayer space, plus a memorial to the victims who died in the 9/11 attacks. The 9/11 Christian Centre will have no such interfaith rooms. It will strictly be a Christian prayer room. Now that's perfectly fine. I've got no problem with that. As with the mosque, it's their right to do it, and I support their right to do it, and I personally don't find the building of it offensive in the slightest. So just to make that clear, I'm not sort of saying taking sides here with one over the other. But I would like to also play you some things connected with the guy who's in charge of this, called Bill Keller. All of this information I'm going to give you is actually from Bill Keller's website, 911christiancenter.com. The first thing you'll notice when you go on the website is that there are some pictures connected to it where it basically states that Islam is a great religion for paedophiles. And it shows you these two images. These two images are purporting to show a mass wedding of child brides. However, these pictures are completely fake. It was part of a hate campaign, and they are completely and utterly fraudulent. I'm not going to waste my time explaining to you because a user called NoelPlum99, he already made a response dealing with this, and I would like to play the clip from his video now.
I got a PM this morning from somebody called I Am Goddard saying, look, this is just a part of a hate campaign. This is a hoax. This image, which is saying that basically Muhammad was a paedophile, and it's still going on today. Here are these these guys from Palestine, this Hamas mass wedding, and they're purportedly this is their child bride. It's still going on today. But it turns out this is bullshit. I Am Goddard sent me some links which show it's bullshit, but I didn't buy that because maybe he's the biased one. So I went searching for my own, and the first link, I will leave you I Am Goddard's links, but the first link is a Sky News correspondent, Tim Marshall, who was actually at the fucking wedding. These girls are not brides, they are cousins, nieces of the bride or the groom. If they were brides, they wouldn't be allowed to dress like that. If they were deemed to be sexually interesting to adult males, they wouldn't be allowed to dress like that. The brides are kept separate from the grooms, and the brides dress from head to foot in black with only their faces and their hands showing. Seems bizarre to us, doesn't it? Doesn't seem like much of a fucking... Well, actually, I know some people who... That would be a perfect wedding not to have to see their fucking wife all day, but that is their custom. These are not brides, and this is terrible misinformation for anybody to put out.
Now, there are several articles linked on the 9/11 Christian Centre website to a website called liveprayer.com, which is Bill Keller's actual website. And some of the articles, I have to say, I find quite unnerving. One of them asks the question, is Barack Obama a fulfillment of an Islamic prophecy? And fortunately, instead of reading you the article, I can play you this clip from one of Bill Keller's videos.
Is this man, Barack Hussein Obama, the fulfillment of Islamic prophecy? In the prophetic commentary on the Quran, Bukhari, Volume 6, Book 60, number 159, it says, Allah's apostle said, "The hour will not be established until the sun rises from the west. And when the people see it, then whoever will be living on the surface of the earth will have faith." In the Asian and Middle Eastern cultures, symbols have much more meaning than they do in the West. Is it just a coincidence that Barack Hussein Obama's campaign symbol is the sun rising over the ultimate symbol of the West, the flag of the United States of America?
I'll let you make your own conclusions from that one. And one of the more disturbing articles talks about the coming showdown between Islam and Christianity. But I'm going to read to you one part of it at the bottom. There is coming soon a final showdown between Islam and Christianity. It has already been building over these past 1400 years, since Muhammad's dreamed up this false religion. As the two dominant religions of the planet, they will continue to collide as the final days of human history unfold. The good news is that we already know how it ends. That is why those who know Christ as their Saviour must stand strong in proclaiming His truth, since in the end, it is God's truth alone that will be standing. Now, I'm going to play you another clip here from Keith Olbermann's show. It's just actually a clip of Bill Keller talking about the Christian Centre briefly, and he does have very, very nice hair.
I know that as time goes on, the Muslims will try to silence me. They will try even to kill me. But the gospel won't be stopped.
Now, he's actually not being completely dishonest there when he talks about them trying to kill him, because he has received a fatwa from Muslim extremists. However, this fatwa was sent to him. He was kind of asking for it, because it was sent to him after he sent a videotape, get this, to Osama bin Laden. It's kind of like sitting in a room with an angry gorilla poking him with a stick. Now, I have to ask you one question. If Imam Faisal Abdul Rauf, if he had said or done half of the crazy shit that I've just presented to you, are you telling me that you would not have heard of this motherfucker? Seriously? Are you telling me that this would not be even more of an excuse to talk about this? Now, earlier on today, the YouTube user Thunderfoot made a video called Use the Quran as a Doorstop Day. Now, in that, Thunderfoot posed a thought experiment in which he said you've got these 3 books, and if you burn a certain number of copies of each one, what reaction would you get? Let me ask you a question, and this isn't even a hypothetical. This is a question that's happening, and I've explained it to you just now. You've got a community centre that has a basketball court, a catering school, an internet cafe, a creche, a library, a swimming pool, and 3 separate interfaith prayer rooms for Jews, Christians and Muslims. And it is billed, when it comes out, as the Ground Zero Mosque. And people jump on it left, right and centre and use it as hate campaign against Muslims in order to make out as if they're building this triumphant, giant Islamic cock right on the site of 9/11. Meanwhile, down the road, a completely different sort of religious extremist who preaches hatred and intolerance of gay people and Muslims is spouting his own kind of religious extremism. He calls his site the 9/11 Christian Centre. And he predicts the forthcoming end of time, the apocalypse between Islam and Christianity, and in fact he even delights in talking about it. And no one says a fucking thing. You were right, Thunderfoot, when you said Islam can make people crazy. And the sad thing is, it seems to make non-Muslims sometimes just as fucking crazy as it can make the other Muslims.
Begin with the apparent hate crime on a cab driver. The driver picked up the suspect at 2nd Avenue and East 24th Street. He was stabbed at least 5 times, but the driver managed to make it to 3rd Avenue and East 40th Street, where he called 911. The suspect was taken into custody. We have 2 reports tonight on the suspect and the crime. We begin with Joe Torres live on the east side. Joe?
Sade, attempted murder as a hate crime. That is the most serious charge tonight against a Putnam County man accused of stabbing a cabbie right here in Midtown yesterday after asking him if he was Muslim. The suspect, Michael Enright, is tonight being held without bail. He just returned to the United States in May from Afghanistan, where he worked as a photographer for a group that promotes justice and peace among people of all faiths.
This is Richard the Dick Coughlin, 616, saying good night, may God be less. And here is a little remembrance of what we all need to remember today is about. Good night, may God be less.
Plane crashed into one of the World Trade Center towers.
When the plane began to fly toward the World Trade
It does
Center.
look like a nuclear winter in lower Manhattan.
There will be a high loss of life.
We are still picking up the pieces and trying to figure out exactly what happened.
Catastrophe of unparalleled proportions.
U.S. officials are saying there was no warning of a likely terrorist attack.
2 hijacked airliners.
I was happening to look on the first tower, and I actually saw people waving where the first plane crashed through, and then it was unbelievable seeing the second jet come crashing into the second tower. What is going on?
People that didn't get out. There's a lot of people coming down the stairs burnt up. It's bad.
Many heroic deeds this day. Those deeds we do not yet know. But police, firemen, ordinary citizens who performed their heroic deeds.
Tragedy and an apparent terrorist attack on our country.
Why are they pulling us out of here?
Because the towers leaving. The North Towers.
Okay, there's been an explosion of some kind.
Oh my God, there it goes!
Can everybody take it back? We're running. They're screaming at us to get back.
Tested, but make no mistake, we will show the world that we will pass this test.